You are not confused. What is this? What is this? You are not frightened like the Google group members of Andrea Good are describing confusion, frightening, what's going on, what will happen to me. You don't have this kind of fears and confusion, and you don't have ownership of the experience as well. You don't attach yourself to them. It's my Kundalini, it's my experience, because you are already freed from these kleshas. You are at the process of awakening, you are already freeing, burning these kleshas. Obviously, it's not always happening immediately in 5 minutes. Sometimes it's slow process, sometimes longer process, but already it's like when you are on the computer and you index the files. They are already gray. They are already prepared to be deleted. They are still there, the traces, the memory, and they have to be burned by the fire of Kundalini, but they are already weakened, so you don't use them anymore. You cannot use them. They are already in the bin. And they cannot be restored. They can be restored according to the tradition until the Kundalini Shakti arrives till the heart chakra. It's described that one can still fall down by some very great mistake, can fall down to the lower levels, and so the sins can be kind of restored, like when we restore from the bin the files back to the computer. But after attaining the heart level and the Kundalini going up, one cannot fall lower than the heart chakra. So let's go back to the moment of the condition to have a Kundalini at all awakened in the lowest chakra, Muladhara. That condition is that you are already, the yogi is already prepared to give up all his desires, all his anger, klesha, greed, and any negative feeling, and is even ready to give up his or her self in the search of God and in the search of enlightenment. Now look around yourself, and I know that many people play around with Kundalini, the word, but they would never give up their breakfast, or they would never sacrifice their comfort and hot shower, or they would never sacrifice their position in society, etc., etc., or beautiful clothes, comfortable bed. They would never sacrifice their life for Kundalini. The real yogis, they are so much burning with this quest for attaining nirvana, attaining God or Buddha state, that they even are ready to give up their own life, physicality. But they are not losing their life. It is even in the Bible, when you offer your life, you are gaining life. Actually, by this self-sacrificing love, one can reach only the highest states. So the condition, just show me anyone of these Rambamjon New Ageist people who are at that level. They are speaking, writing about high-flying words about Kundalini, but they never would sacrifice their family relations, the safety of their position in society, of their comfort. So the first condition is that you give 100% maximum for the quest of nirvana. And nowadays people, when I came back from this stage, I was filled with wish to share, obviously, and I met with a reaction from people. But why should we want to reach God? It's good for us here. What is the mistake from living here? We enjoy the life here. Why should we reach some different state? So because people don't know, this age, people think that this life here is the maximum of happiness. Of course, sometimes it is, but sometimes illness comes, sometimes death of relatives comes, sometimes tragedy comes, catastrophes, natural catastrophes, financial problems. So not for everyone is this the best life. But okay, let's go back to Kundalini. I just wanted to say that very few people actually sincerely want to reach God at any price, and sincerely want to reach nirvana at any price. This is an important moment for the awakening of Kundalini. It cannot happen to anyone who is just taking it in a recreational way, like going to a New Age yoga class 1 hour a week, and then everyone get enlightened there. They say that my chakra is shining and I am trembling and I am jumping, and no, this is not Kundalini. Now there are many gurus in India and the West as well, which are touching the people, and they get some kind of fits and trembling and moving with the hands, heads and bodies. So this is a very long topic. This is not Kundalini awakening. I know that by this information I make angry all these commercial gurus and their devotees, because they feel very enlightened, and they feel that they are on the right path by moving and trembling and having fits. This is not Kundalini awakening. Why? Because the real Kundalini awakening, which is happening to yogis who are in deep meditational state, is not physical. It's not at the physical level. The physicality stops to exist in the moment of awakening of the Kundalini. So there are two positions which a body can be in during this awakening, in a not moving situation, and this is the traditional way of the cross-leg sitting meditational position, in any variation which is in the habit of that yogi or that lineage, from Padmasana, Siddhasana. In the beginning it is experienced as this kind of cross-leg positions are the best suitable for the awakening of Kundalini, but in later stages the position doesn't matter, and the other position is Shavasana, is the lying on the ground, like in sleep. These two positions have a condition of not moving, and only in not moving position is able to the Kundalini to awaken. So why is it an important sign? We can recognize genuine Kundalini awakening from non-genuine and fake ones from this sign, because a genuine Kundalini awakening, such a person will look like a a stone for the outsiders, like that practically. And there were some writings, ancient writings, about even checking. Some people were obviously worried about their yogi friends or gurus, so they obviously tried to check, probably in the past, if they are not dead by any chance. And so they say, or they write that during this process, the heart is cold, the body is cold, but the top of the head is hot. So when in certain old ages in India, it was very widespread to have yogis around. So if someone saw such a person in lying or sitting position, someone could check actually if he's alive. But it's not advisable to disturb such a yogi, obviously. So also this is one of the reasons why real yogis always retired into caves and jungles, because they didn't want to alarm people by their outer appearance during the Kundalini awakening. It's easier to be alone, but this is not something what you have to plan, anyone has to plan or do as in the first place. No, in the first place we have to look for God and search ways to nirvana and finding the truth about our existence in our normal everyday situation, working, studying, and living our normal life. Everything comes in the right time, but Kundalini will not awaken if we do it from the other end of the stick when we go to the cave and we will wait for it. It's the opposite. It's the opposite when the yogi already is on the path, then by the grace of the God, he knows that he needs such a place, or she, and so she finds such a place where the further practice can be continued. So the first sign where we can recognize the genuine Kundalini awakening is actually not moving. Why? In the old scriptures about Kundalini, it's also, for example, Shiva Sutram, also a very good book, is Kshema Raja's translation of Jaideva Singh's translation of Kshema Raja's and all the yogis' description of Kundalini awakening and the 36 tattvas is the Shiva Sutras of Kshema Raja. In this book, you can read about the Nadi Samhara. Now, people like followers of fake gurus have no idea what is that. Of course, you cannot know what is that until you don't experience. I would also not know what is that before my own experience. Nadi Samhara means that just before the awakening of the Kundalini and even during it, all the prana, we have 5 different pranas which make the functioning of our body, mind, all the 5 bodies. And all these pranas are suddenly sucked into the middle channel, which is called Sushumna Nadi. Nadi Samhara means they are disappearing, not the nadis, but the energy from the nadis. Nadis are invisible channels in the body, so when the energy disappears from them, then the channels don't exist. They all are sucked into one middle channel. So imagine all the energy which makes our life, our movement, our speech, our thinking, the biological processes, the warmth, all this prana is suddenly in the Sushumna. For this reason, this is the trigger of the Kundalini, of course, and the Kundalini power is sucking inside these energies. Because why? Because this is Shakti, this is Devi. All these energies belong to Devi, to Shakti. They don't belong to the earth, they belong to God. So they go home. These energies, imagine the 5 pranas like different devis, which are maintaining our body to exist. But when the Kundalini is awakening, when their mother is going home, then the daughters also want to go home. Mommy, take us with you. I just invented this analogy now because the feeling is like all these pranas automatically are attracted to their source. And what makes the prana divine? The direction. Very important moment. Please remember direction. A prana becomes divine only when the direction is to God. There are many pranas going around in this body, in this world, but the direction makes them holy, and the direction is going up to God. So all these 5 pranas collect in the Sushumna Nadi, and this is called Nadi Samhara. So this is happening just before the Kundalini and during the Kundalini, and obviously in the state of enlightenment, or the state of certain levels, different levels of samadhis induced by Kundalini awakening. There is always Nadi Samhara. Why am I emphasizing so much Nadi Samhara? This is also a sign to test if the person who is claiming that his Kundalini had been awakened, or claiming it about some other person. Obviously, if you don't have pranic energy in your body, but all your pranic energy is just in the middle channel, but not in my hands, the energy is not in my hands, in eyes, in my mouth, in my thinking, all this is inside my center, my consciousness, my source. Then obviously the body, as described in the ancient Indian yogic texts, is not moving, cannot move. But it's not that you would be, how to say, desperate or shocked or frightened, oh, I cannot move my body. No, because you actually touch that part of your soul which is desiring this state, which is feeling, oh, this is my real consciousness. Always I was looking for this. This is my home. This is where I belong. So you don't have the desire and fear and practically no interest to move your hand and to speak. That's why many really highly enlightened yogis like Ramana Maharishi, they kept spontaneous mauna because there was no interest to speak. There was no interest for interaction and moving too much, and they were just sitting and being inside their own home. It's nothing like something which is separate from us, like these fake Kundalini promoters are describing, like some state which is dodgy and strange. No, this is our real, most safe feeling and most homely feeling. We stop to be confused, we stop to be desperate, and we kind of we can return to the body consciousness, but the thing is that we don't want in that moment. So It's not that people are describing that, oh, suddenly they would not feel their body and and they would be frightened. No, because fear is already burnt. And people describe that they are having emotional reactions, and reactions which induce pride in them. But in real Kundalini awakening, you already burn the improper attitude also. This is the fantastic thing with the way back to God, that the way itself is already having the quality of the goal. You cannot walk on the way if that way doesn't have divine quality. This is the case of the real path, the inner path, and the Kundalini. So you cannot have, in a case of real Kundalini awakening, you automatically cannot have a bad attitude to the Kundalini. It means a mistaken, misinterpreting attitude. It's impossible. It's just not like that at all. This is a topic for speaking and writing very long, but I just wanted to, in this video, to speak about the comparison, the signs of the real Kundalini awakening compared to the fake ones, which are so much spread in fake guru by fake gurus, and especially their New Age followers. Obviously, they don't call themselves New Age. I call them a New Age because why? Because they are not following the traditional ancient spiritual path with all its discipline, hardships, long time practices, self-sacrifices. They are not following that. They want cheap, quick, and shortcuts. By shortcuts, you never experience real Kundalini. You experience your fantasy about Kundalini. So, the first sign, very important, is that a yogi who is experiencing Kundalini is not moving. It's in a stone, movingless position. When I was going on this path, I was always in a secluded place and made sure that I am not discovered by anyone. But not moving, in the moment you see someone making different movements in some yoga classes, and the guru immediately tells that this person, labels that this person is experiencing Kundalini, and some yogis can induce such things by touching the disciples, and then they do certain things with heads and body and jump and shout and cry, which reminds me a little of the charismatic movement in Christianity. They do the same, this kind of jumping, crying. This is a release of certain hidden subconscious emotions, and this is not the area of yoga and Kundalini. This is an area of psychology, and these people mistakenly consider this Kundalini. They can even experience some hot, cold, trembling, visions, hearing things. This is not the area of Kundalini. There is a very good key and a very good checking for yourself, and to prove, in case someone is claiming about others that they experience Kundalini. When the Nadi Samhara is happening, actually what prana, the breathing is also prana. everyone who read anything about yoga before knows that prana, breathing in and breathing out, are also prana. It's considered pranayama when we are making breathing techniques, but prana is not air. Prana is actually the energy, the pranic energy, which is controlled by the air movement, but it's not identical with the air itself. This is a big misunderstanding of Western yoga practitioners in the beginning. Prana is not the air. Prana is the energy which is balanced and which is practiced by the pranayama, by the breathing techniques of yoga. So this prana is also Devi, it's also Shakti. This prana, obviously, and now very important thing what I am telling, this prana is also part of the Nadi Samhara process. It means the inhalation and exhalation goes inside the Sushumna. So this is described as stopping to breathe. It is in different stages according to the karma of the person, according to his special yoga lineage he is doing. But sometimes the breathing stops for the moment of the erasing of the Kundalini Shakti, and then it is renewed for sometimes, but extremely slow. In certain very high yogis, the breathing totally stops. And so by this, you can know that Nadi Samhara and Kundalini awakening is genuine. The yogini does not breathe. So I'm now pretty sure that those two people who are advised by Andrea Good in Rambam John's Google group, which had been closed by now, these two people were breathing during the very strange and dodgy experiences they are describing, like visions, voices, trembling, confusion, etc. I am pretty sure they had been breathing during it. And if you watch any films about yoga teachers or gurus in India especially, but also in the West, who are allegedly initiating Kundalini awakening in their disciples, and they are jumping and singing and shouting and, I don't know, trembling, obviously all these people are breathing. And they never checked back in the yogic books of Kshemaraja or Lakshmanju or Arthur Avalon's descriptions that during the process of Kundalini awakening, Nadi Samhara, you cannot move and you don't want to move and you don't breathe and you don't want to breathe. You breathe inside. Your breath is breathing back. You breathe back to God. When we are inhaling, exhaling, we are maintaining our connection with this physical existence. So don't believe that Kundalini can cause you jumping, shouting, trembling, mental states, psychological states, emotional flashes of explosions of unexpected emotions. No, this is not Kundalini. And why is exhalation and inhalation are like the male and female part? which are actually in Kundalini awakening becoming one. They become balanced. The duality of exhalation, inhalation becomes one, Advaita. In an Advaita state, which is the Kundalini awakening, going to the Advaita state to God, there cannot be maintaining of worldly consciousness by exhalation and inhalation. Now, there are hundreds of people who are writing and speaking about themselves and others nowadays, especially Westerners, claiming that their Kundalini had been awakening, or their disciples' Kundalini is awakening. Like, they describe it as if this would happen every week in yoga classes, or in every $6,000 yoga class in India. No, it was never like this, never so widespread, and Kundalini awakening has, as I described, so difficult conditions. You must be spiritually developed and ripe, karmically ripe for the Kundalini awakening. It's not for everyone. But because why? Because not everyone wants to go back to the highest consciousness, to God, to Nirvana. Not everyone wants, sincerely. So, obviously, you cannot force anyone to want something what he doesn't want. He's not spiritually ripe, karmically ripe yet to experience this. Not karmically ripe to give up practically everything in the search for God. So obviously you can hardly find such people, women or men or children, who are ready for this highest quest. And only these very few people will experience the awakening of Kundalini. So, 2 points I spoke about. One is the Kundalini awakening never induces jumping and emotional trembling and seizures and fits. Never. Second, never induces, during Kundalini awakening, never breathe, or the breathing is extremely slow. Once in 3 minutes, something like that. So, I will continue this video on this topic later.